Welcome everybody. Today I'm joined by Ranjan Bhattacharya, property entrepreneur from the UK. You may have already seen his face. I'd actually found his YouTube and it's doing a lot better than mine. I'll catch up though one day, hopefully.
You will.
Yeah, and today we're just going to kind of keep it casual and talk a little bit about the property market in the UK and Dubai. But let's start with an opening question, Ranjan. Why are you in Dubai right now?
Why are we in Dubai right now? Exploring opportunities.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of great meetings with people, and I'm exploring all sorts of opportunities, not just in real estate, but also in certain types of financial instruments, also gold. There's a whole bunch of opportunities. And I think increasingly now, people should think about diversification. I think the issue for a lot of people is that if you want to get started on your wealth creation journey and you're starting with nothing, property in the UK is one of the best avenues because you've got tons of leverage.
Yeah.
You can still buy property with next to nothing in the UK. But when you have made yourself some equity over time, whether you've done it through forcing that equity through doing development works and that kind of stuff, or you bought well, or it's just the passage of time that's given you that equity. Once you've got that equity, I think people should start thinking about diversification.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have all your equity just in the property boat.
Yeah.
And also in the UK property boat. So I'm here to explore those sort of opportunities and what opportunities are available in non-property sectors and also property sectors internationally.
Yeah.
And this place, I think what people don't realise about the UK is that property prices have fallen. There's been a property crash that no one's talking about. Property prices have fallen 22% since 2022.
Where are the most properties crashing? Which locations?
Well, most people see the property price data that comes up and it says it's gone up 1% or whatever. The 22% fall is when you adjust for inflation. When you adjust for inflation, in real terms, property in the UK has fallen 22%.
Wow.
So that is 17% since 2020.
Yeah.
That is a massive fall.
Yeah.
So, and people don't adjust for inflation.
No.
Whereas here, we have seen a far lower inflation rate, but a much greater price gain.
Yeah, I mean, Dubai's now, the prices are going, up. I mean, we've seen prices rise in the last few years, astronomically. I think now we're starting to see it level out a little bit, but there are still certain things that the market is demanding, standalone villas, townhomes, what we went to show you. So I actually went and showed you one of our projects that we're working on in the Meadows right now. And, that's why we're in this market to, really bring these places to life because, the market segment in which you have to look for in Dubai, people come here and say, where is the most money still to be made? If you came to me and said, I've got 200 grand, I'm from the UK, what can I do with it? I would say, you're probably best keeping that in the UK. If you've only got 200k and you have access to no other capital, if you have it as a down payment, it's a bit of a different story. But if you've only got 200k, I would say that money does not go very far in Dubai, I mean, what do you think about, you've got a bit of an idea of the barrier to entry in Dubai, right? With the price points, you've seen it, you've sort of seen the market. What point do you think someone from the UK should look at potentially diversifying?
I think the story is different for different people, depending on where they are on their journey, their age, and what they've got going on. I think if you're in the UK and you've got more than 100k of income and more than 500k of assets, and you can move to another location and still preserve that 100k of annual income, then relocating is a little bit of a no-brainer from purely a financial consideration, not emotional. I've got my 2 dogs. I don't want to leave my mother-in-law. Got kids at school. All this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Independent of those, for financial consideration, I think if you've got 500k plus assets, 100k of income a year that you can maintain, it's a little bit of a no-brainer. I think people see a lot of bling on Instagram and all the rest of it about Dubai, and think they can just come over here and make it. I think there are, if you're willing to hustle, I think there are real opportunities here. For example, and you'll know about this, I guess, there are opportunities to do rent-to-rent out here.
There are, yeah.
And it involves a lot of hustling. But as opposed to the UK doing the same model, renting something on a long-term let and then renting it out short-term on Airbnb, in the UK there's a huge amount of tax and regulatory hurdle to go through. Here, there's still some regulations, but there's zero tax, which makes your hustling go far further.
Yeah.
So I think there aren't, if you want to buy property and do stuff with leverage, there's more opportunity in the UK.
I agree.
But if you are willing to hustle, you will get more bang for your buck for that hustle here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Because a lot of the UK investors that I get, the first question they ask is like, okay, I've got this creative way that I do financing in the UK. How can we apply that model here? And unfortunately, over here, it's a lot different, right? You know, banks aren't, it's not that, I wouldn't say it's like that hard to get financing. You know, the banks aren't saying, no, we're not giving you the financing, but you're very limited to the amount that you can take. And there are a lot more, you know, restrictions on what they will give you, right?
Yes.
You know, it's not like you can buy something for £0 or $0 or 0 dirhams here, you know, like you can in the UK. But I think, you know, maybe we might start gradually seeing that change a little bit, you know, as we see more of the financial institutions to actually move over to Dubai. And also, I think the longer people are here, you know, the more wealth is coming here, especially, you know, from, you know, property entrepreneurs like yourself or even other people who are, that I know that have moved here and they're generating income now. You know, eventually the banks will look at their profile and start to, I think they're going to start giving them some leverage, you know.
It will mature. I think the 10-year golden visa system is relatively new. Yeah. And I was speaking to someone the other day who said to me that less than 5% of the population here have the 10-year golden visa. So when you've got that short-term residency situation for the bulk of the population, you can understand why the banks are a little bit, their appetite for higher leverage and interest only is just not there. Yeah. But I think that will change as the UAE is moving to more long-term residency.
Yeah. I mean, the types of scenarios in which we see people now not just investing, they're actually coming to live here.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you probably know a handful of people that have already moved.
I'm amazed at how many people I seem to know, and also when I come over, how many people are either here at the same time. Yeah. And we're going out for dinner tomorrow with some people who we know who happen to be here, or we've just missed each other by a week or two. Yeah. I think the other interesting thing about the tourist market here is that there are some places in the world where it's a bucket list you tick off, like the pyramids. You wouldn't go there twice. There are very few tourist destinations. Thailand has been very successful at getting repeat business. Yeah. People go there.
And like Amsterdam and stuff like that. Yeah.
And Dubai seems to have cracked that. The amount of people that go to Dubai for tourism who have been there before is quite high. And I think that is fantastic news for the Dubai tourism market. And obviously, the knock-on on the real estate sector is huge.
Well, it usually goes like this. You come on holiday once, you're like amazed by Dubai, maybe that was a few years ago. Then, you know, they come back again and they start to think, well, actually, now I'm coming back the second time. There's more things to do. More things are open. There are newer restaurants. And they come again and they see that again. And then eventually something clicks. They start to see all of these buildings being built. Then they hear of a friend who's moved. Then they hear of a very close friend that's moved. And then it all of a sudden start to think, well, actually, this place is not so like hard to move to, you know? The biggest problem I see with people relocating overseas is the difficulty sometimes of getting residency, getting visa, the ability to invest easily, to get bank accounts. Sometimes it's not that straightforward. There's too much red tape. Dubai has cracked that in terms of they've just, you know, they've allowed people to come here if they want to make something of themselves.
Yes.
You know, you can't come here. We spoke about this the other day. You can't just come here and do nothing. It's too expensive. Yeah. You know, you won't get a visa. Like if you come here and do nothing, you just can't live, you know. You can't claim any benefits, you know. And I think that's what we're really seeing a big impact. And how many people would you say, you know, do you know that have moved out here, would you say?
I think the issue right now is that I think Dubai has, for the last 4 or 5 years, had a certain pull in terms of it being attractive. Now what we're combining that with, particularly in the UK and other parts of Europe, I've got a German friend out here, and when he talks about what's going on in Germany. It's word for word what someone would say about what's going on in the UK.
Yeah.
So this is a problem not just in UK but Europe. Canada's facing the same issue. But people, particularly successful people, entrepreneurial people, feel pushed. So Dubai has a pull, but entrepreneurs and people achieving something feel pushed.
I saw
and that
that
coming together
yeah.
is giving the rise in numbers.
No, you're right. I saw Stephen Bartlett on a podcast the other day, and he was saying 10,000 millionaires left last year. Something like one every 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
What the hell is that about?
It is. I think the Labour government are a socialist government. It's the most socialist government we've ever had. It's never a great idea to come in to power like Starmer did and said, you know, things are really crap and they're going to get crappier. No, he said the things are really bad and they're going to get worse.
Yeah. What kind
Look at Trump. He came in, you know, we're going to make America great. You know, this is going to be this and that and the other, and it was all positive.
Yeah, what kind of leader comes in and says, it's bad, it's going to get worse, we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but maybe one day we might get out of it, and then brings in new laws to make it worse and worse.
And you know, the thing that happened as well, they came into power in summer of last year, and we had to wait until late September for Rachel Thieves' first budget. And there was lots of bad news it's the way they handled it. You know, they kept on dripping really bad news. Rachel Reeves is going to do this, you know, is going to tax your mother or whatever. And they put it out in the headlines and see what the reaction is. And if there's a lot of pushback, then they kind of reel back from it. But what that does is, by putting out over the summer this constant bad news, what it does is it makes successful people, entrepreneurs, it makes people not wanting to invest, to pause investments, to pause any decisions to, you know, do anything, to grow anything in the UK. It also makes people worried. You feel trapped in headlights almost, that, you know, you've done all of this, and, you know, just with a wave of a wand, she's going to come in and say she's going to tax your pension pot. You know, you've been all being encouraged to do private pensions and all of that, and she was going to remove some, just change the rules, which people have been planning with for 30, 40 years, and you just come in and, we're going to change the rules. You can't make any decisions like that.
No, I've never seen so much negative news coming out of one place at any time. It's almost as if they just want everyone to be in that sort of negative mindset. You know, I know people say in Dubai, you know, it's like it's like it's ruled by the government, and they are like they're rulers, and you know, you've got no choice about what you're saying, you've got no freedom of speech and stuff like that. But the way that you see Dubai, the growth and the business perspective of how Dubai is building, and the way that it's moving forward, you actually start to think, well, you know what, it's not really, it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing, you know?
Even if I wanted to, I don't really have anything to moan about. I mean, these guys have a plan for the next 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the UK, we don't have a plan for the next week. It flip-flops all the time. And there is no growth plan with Ed Miliband and his nut to zero, which is just constraining anything from happening. You know, one of the classic real estate strategies in the UK is to follow infrastructure projects. So a lot of people, including myself, haven't done too badly by doing developments and things around the Elizabethan line, east to west. That's been pretty much it in terms of infrastructure projects. Out here, there's infrastructure projects. You
can't keep up with it.
Around every corner.
Yeah, you can't keep up with it.
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, let's just name a few right now. You've got Palm Jebel Ali. You've got Dubai Islands. Mm-hmm. You've got Dubai Maritime City. You know, you've got the Al Maktoum Airport. You've got the Dubai South region. You know, you've got the metro line expanding across all parts of Dubai. You know, we're seeing this and you've got the casino, Ras Al Khaimah.
And you've got first place in the world to have air taxis.
Yeah.
That's coming in the next
I don't know how much I would trust people driving me around in an air taxi.
It's going to be, apparently,
automated.
It's going to be automated. I'd trust that. You must have seen the drone shows around the...
yeah, no, I have seen those drone shows. They're insane.
If you can control all of those,
yeah,
it can't be that difficult.
Yeah, what if someone I don't know, but you know, you know, it's either like you got an automated, you know, air taxi, but then you've also got like a taxi driver who could just be finishing a 12-hour shift, really tired, not aware, but an air taxi doesn't necessarily get tired. I mean,
I would trust that because you're in 3D, and obviously the impact of a crash is far more.
I would want to see the exit plan. Like if let's just say a few different scenarios. If the taxi ran out of battery or one propeller stopped working, what's the exit plan here? Like, do we just fall to our death, or do we get like a mini parachute? I don't know how high they even fly, but yeah, I mean, listen, if they can pull that off.
I think the safety will be fine.
Yeah,
I think the issue here is that they are quick to. They're not snarled up in red tape. So if they see something good, they can adopt it quickly.
Yes,
and that is a good thing. And that's also it's also a good thing that when something, what I've noticed is over the years, when something bad happens, they're quick to plug it with new regulation.
Yeah.
In the UK, some things can take years before they get noticed and years before they go through Parliament before it's addressed.
No, that's true.
It's pretty instant here, and that's been very, very good. And there's been some real estate horror stories from 10, 12 years ago about developers folding and all of that. But that has been fixed to such a level now.
Yeah, it has.
It's as safe as anything.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people before the 2008 crash, and there was a lot of problems. Palm Jebel Ali, that's one. A lot of people invested over there, and the project stopped. There are multiple cases of people who've bought in different parts of Dubai land, from different developers who have gone bust. And then, if you go to Sports City right now, behind JVC, there's a lot of abandoned buildings, because there was prime locations that they were trying to build that just stopped. But going back to what you said before about acting fast, we had some insane floods last year, I was going to Sri Lanka and I had to wait 18 hours in the air. I don't even know why my plane took off. I thought I should have just gone home, but it did eventually take off. But we had to wait in the plane for 18 hours in the airport. But the floods were insane. However, a few, let's say 6 months after, they'd already built the infrastructure and the plans of how they're going to rectify this in the future. I had a gym in Al Quoz, which is an industrial area. That's incredibly bad for flooding. So I go to the gym now, there's tons of roadworks going on. There's new pipes, got drainage being implemented. So you can see how fast they took action,
That sort of action doesn't happen. I mean, even if you look at the LA fires, for example.
Yeah.
The fact that those are they're just letting them run rampant.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And the other thing is, I remember those floods from a UK perspective. The news reporting was exceptionally negative in the UK about those.
Of course it was, yeah.
And I think there is something there. It's kind of making people, trying to condition people into thinking, you know what, be happy where you are, because everywhere else has got all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that in the media narrative.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can see why they do it. They can see how many people are moving away. So they need to try and pull them back, Like the UK, if there's only people in the UK on low income wages and, people who, coming out to claim benefits, or immigration, people who are just coming to claim the benefits, if there's a country that only holds them people and all of the rich people leave, the problem you've got is that people are against rich people. And, that's a poor man's mindset. So you're against the rich people, but you'll go and do everything. You'll eat a certain brand of food or anything like this, or you'll only do a certain thing that's actually owned by someone who created this and is actually very rich because of that. But you're still, you don't quite realize that you need these people, to build infrastructure, to build businesses, so the average working man can actually work for them. But unfortunately, people don't think like that, and people just hate the rich. And now they're all leaving, but they're all going to suffer, And then
I think it's. It is people that achieve a certain success. I mean, what I never understood really about the UK is that we will celebrate an individual who can run around a track fast and get a gold medal and all of that, and encourage them. But when it comes to celebrating someone for doing well in business, for out of nothing, creating jobs for a number of people, creating livelihoods for a certain number of people. There's nothing for that. You're kind of hated for that.
Yeah.
Over my career, I have I mean, what my bag has been taking unloved, dilapidated buildings, which really had no use. A lot of them were defunct because they had former commercial uses. A lot of them were old tatty houses that we have renovated and converted into multiple flats.
Yeah.
So we have provided homes for more than 1,000 people, which in buildings which otherwise had no use.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying, there should be a national Ranjan Day in the UK.
No.
But I'm also saying we shouldn't be punished and treated as pariahs.
No, I mean, I see this all the time. I mean, I don't know how, I don't follow the UK property market so much, but anytime I see anything about HMOs and people taking dilapidated buildings that need renovating, like old banks, and then creating homes and then renting out the rooms, I see loads of people commenting, you greedy landlords, you scumbags, you should be, you're the reason for this property market crashing. And I can't quite understand, like, are them people hating because they are jealous? I don't know why they're hating so much when really, one might not be able to afford a full apartment to themselves, so they have to get a room. What other choice do they get?
Yeah. And the other thing is that now landlords seem to be singled out. It doesn't matter that you rent all the movies you watch from Netflix and pay them a rental. It doesn't matter that you pay for a hire car. It doesn't matter that you rent use of a gym.
Yeah.
But renting a property is somehow bad.
Yeah.
You can not pay your rent for a couple of months, but you can't walk out of Tesco with a bag of tomatoes.
Yeah, this is what it gets me as well. It's happening, all over, even in the US. That, I mean, I'm sure Trump will change it. The law that if you have if you steal or rob under $950 worth of products or whatever you do, then the police can't get involved.
And I think the safety issue. I mean, here people. You genuinely don't have to worry about what you wear. It doesn't matter what area you go to. You don't have to worry about anything.
No.
Wherever you are in Dubai at any time. London has become a place where you can't have anything nice about your person because there are gangs and things on bikes who take. It's funny. I went to a meeting in Business Bay the other day, and I arrived before the person I was meeting, and I was just having a bit of a chat with the security guy, and he was from Cameroon, and he asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from London, UK. And this guy, I said, where are you from? Cameroon. And he said to me, I hear it's pretty unsafe in London. So
wow.
The Cameroon security guard is telling me
that
London's unsafe. This is the laughing stock that the UK is becoming right now. It's crazy.
All right, Ranjan, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And like I said, it'd be very exciting to showcase what business we can do out here to the audience. And I'm sure we can do something to in the future. All right, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Nice. Cool. Lovely.